Your intuition is the most reliable source of information there is. The universe isn't just out there, it's interacting with you. Claim your power by embracing the unknown. This is Tracy with Tracy Talks, and I'm here to ignite your curiosity. Don't just listen, embrace it. I recently watched an occult documentary. It was unbelievable. It was horrifying. And I know some people sit and watch those type of documentaries and don't understand how things like this can happen. There are people who are extremely charismatic, and their energy just envelops you, and it feels good, and you feel seen and heard, and it can be easy to get drawn into things that aren't the healthiest for us, are violent, are horrifying. I just felt compelled to have this discussion about the spiritual community and people who are gurus and who promote their program, their healing modality as the end all and be all. I know for myself in my own journey, I had reached a point in my life where I had more questions than answers. I was searching for my personal power. I was looking for a community. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be heard. I wanted to find myself. And spirituality felt like it was a path to those things. And for me, it felt like I was finally getting some of the answers that I had been wanting and needing and yearning for. The dark side of it is so many groups and organizations claim that they are about love and light, and that with you joining in the group, that you are going to transcend, you're going to awaken, you're going to reach this level of spiritual elevation. And it's not always true. That there are a lot of people deeply entrenched in spirituality who don't have any integrity, who have not transcended to some elevated level where they know better than you do. And one of the reasons that I do this podcast is to help, especially women, find their personal power. Some guru, some quote spiritual leader does not have your answers. You do have your own answers. You have your own intuition, which is the most valuable tool that you have. I know for myself, there was this unhealed version of me that was seeking someone to see me and really see me, that there were so many parts of my younger self that was still yearning to be seen, to be heard, to be witnessed, to be validated. And there were people who were doing that in the spiritual community for me. I felt like for the first time that I was actually being seen, and I felt like I was actually being heard. And it was mesmerizing because for so long, I had been looking for that. I had been looking for that to be healed in me. And it's very easy to get sucked into this world. And there are some absolutely amazing, wonderful leaders in spiritual communities. And there are some absolutely horrible people in spiritual communities. And both are operating at the same time. Both are true. And it's not until you get immersed into some of these worlds that you see the subtle motivations. You see the darkness, quote, and I don't mean anything spooky, and I don't mean to focus on like darkness as in satanic or anything. I'm just saying people are motivated by ego. They're motivated by money. They're motivated by taking advantage of people. And they're never going to say that. They're never going to say, I took advantage of anybody. What they're going to say is that there is an energetic exchange and their soul must have needed it, and that's why they gave it to me. They're never going to admit that there was an ulterior motive to taking advantage of people. And I know for myself, when I look back at some of the people that I had connected with early on, there are these moments where in the beginning, everything felt great. It felt consuming, and it was a new energy for me because, again, I was looking to be validated on some level, and I liked being seen, and it felt good to have somebody see me. But things sometimes shift, and it's those moments that I've talked about in some of my other podcasts where things are going along and then you just get this intuitive hit where it's like, And in the moment, sometimes it's not this loud, booming voice from your intuition that says stop. It's not this big light that's flashing, this big warning light. That's not what your intuition is. Your intuition is this little, And somebody will do something or they will say something. And even though they said that they are enlightened and awakened and not operating from ego, they are absolutely operating from ego. And there's sometimes where I personally am working through balancing out what type of spiritual learning do I need, or do I just feel like I need to be in the community more? And there are numerous programs and numerous modalities. And actually, I just was searching yesterday just randomly with energy work. And the number of different modalities was even amazing to me because it's unbelievable how many different, you can say dialects, different ways of saying the same thing. And as I'm looking through this list, because I am a certified Reiki master, but there are different versions of energy work. Do I need to be certified in all of them? Probably not. Are they basically the same? Probably yes. I myself am navigating how much training do I actually need? And are we just creating a business to have a business? Is it more about making money, or is it really about getting more energy workers out into the world? And that's not what your typical Reiki teacher is going to tell you. They're not going to say, do we really need this many people, or is this just a business so I can get a paycheck? And I know that sounds bad. This is just what I work through at times. There are a lot of amazing energy workers out there who are working from a place of pure intention, of wanting to help people in whatever way that they can, in whatever way that they need. And those are not the gurus that get the documentaries. We see the horror stories. But it's worth mentioning that not everybody is about love and light. Not everybody is for the highest and best good of everybody else underneath of them. And there are classes and courses that I have taken that really set me on a path. And then there are ones that I took that I look back now and I didn't need it. And did I override my intuition? Did I just join in to be in community with people? There have been events and organizations that I have tried to associate with who, for whatever reason, they do not let people into their group. For as much as they promote love and light, there is still this mentality that we are better than you and you're not one of us. Sometimes it's called gatekeeping, that we're not going to let you in the group. And that's fine, because then that's how I have learned my own awareness. I have learned more about myself and where I belong and who I belong with. There are a couple of things that I want to emphasize today. I am someone who has to check in with my intuition, and it doesn't come immediately in the moment. Let's give an example that I am at an event, and some of these events are high pressure because it's like a used car salesman. They know their chances of getting you to sign that 6-month course is better if they get you to sign immediately. Because when we start thinking about things, we realize that we really shouldn't do it. These events are extremely high pressure. I myself am not designed to sign immediately on the dotted line. There are some people who are designed that way. I have a friend who's designed that way. Her intuition works differently. Her yes in the moment is a yes for her. My yes in the moment is unclear and cloudy. I am not designed to make decisions in the moment. I have to say no in those type of events because I get sucked in easily. I'm an emotional responder. I think everything sounds great in the beginning, and then 3 days later, reality hits, and it's like, what have I done? Now, there are some times where 3 days later, I have the same opinion. But the reality is that's a very small percentage of the time. For some of you, if you don't get an immediate yes in the moment, then your answer should always be no. And it's a good idea when we go to events, when we go to moments where there is a high pressure moment where they're going to want you to sign on the dotted line, that we enter into those events with an exit strategy. If you know that you cannot walk away in that moment, then maybe you shouldn't go. And this is a general rule how I approach these situations now, because, again, they've got the perfect music, they've got the perfect mood set, you're in the moment, here's this guru on stage, and you're just feeling electric inside, and you just want to be part of that, and you want to feel that vibe, and you want to be in that energy, and it's easy to get sucked in. And how can we just approach these situations in life a little differently? How can we just be prepared in the moment to have an exit strategy, to practice saying no? And I'm not judging anybody who gets pulled in. I have my own experiences where I was pulled in. Thankfully, nothing was as horrific as other people's stories. I am thankful for that. But there are times where I look back now and I realized how easy it is to get sucked in, especially in the spiritual world, especially in this where people know how to ignite a room. There are people who do energy work and can work in your auric field, in your chakras, and you feel things that you never imagined that you would feel. There are people who can manipulate chakras, and people don't realize that. You don't understand how somebody can work in your second chakra, and you start feeling the vibes and the energies, and you start feeling kind of good, and you start feeling kind of aroused. Or somebody's working in your heart chakra and you start feeling warm and you start feeling love and you start feeling all of these good feelings. And you just think it's your own body. And there are some really good energy workers out there who can work the room, who can set the intention to create a space that feels a certain way. Very early on in my training, I had a teacher who I trusted who was working with me in channeling and the capacity to hold energy for a group of people. This is accomplished by calling in energies, by setting intentions, by creating an environment that's going to hold the energy for the room. And there are people out there who are working with the best of intentions. And there are people out there who are not working with the best of intentions. And so when I was watching that documentary and everybody's like, when we entered the space, there was just this feeling in there. Because there are powerful energy workers that can set that intention. And we just don't realize it. We just don't understand how powerful some people actually are. I don't want to be this person that sounds fatalistic. I want to be the person that helps you connect to your own intuition, to understand that there are moments and times when we're going to need to protect our own energy. That when we enter into certain spaces, we need to set intentions of what our expectation is. And we also need to be prepared to walk away, turn around, leave, and react and respond to those hits of information that we get. And I can absolutely say, as someone who asks for assistance from my spiritual team, that some of you probably have a spiritual team out there that is just sending you hits of information and you are just ignoring it and running away from it and denying it and not wanting to see it. And sometimes people are like, why does this stuff keep happening? Because You're not listening sometimes. You're not listening to the information because you don't think it's real. I don't know. There's probably numerous reasons why you're not listening to your intuition. The one thing that I want to reinforce today is not everyone is acting with integrity. And just because they have a sign on the door that says that they are about love and light, about empowerment, about transcendence or awakening or setting you on your spiritual path, not everyone is working with your best intention. And I don't hear enough people saying that. There's this misunderstanding too that me opening my heart and being open to feeling of love means that I have to put my shield down or my protective auric field down, and you don't. You can operate with both of those. We can walk through life having our chakras open to opportunity while still having a protective barrier from people who don't want the best for you. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in this world who don't want the best for you. I feel like I just need to learn my lessons fast now and move on. I am becoming increasingly proficient at walking away from circumstances and situations. Even though we may be at a good place in life, that it doesn't stop bad people from trying to, get into our world. And it's never going to stop. And as soon as we just recognize that, okay, that person's not for me, and I just move on. And not take things so personally, not ruminate on, oh, why didn't they like me? Why didn't this happen? Just, it wasn't your person. Okay. And sometimes when we take these rose-colored glasses off and we just sit and look at people and circumstances with no judgment, let's not name it good or bad. Let's just name the characteristics and the qualities. Sometimes that helps shift how we see things, and we see more clearly when we don't judge the behavior. I'm going to continue this topic, and I'm going to go through some tools that I now use. I'm going to talk about some events and circumstances that maybe just gives you more information about what is really happening sometimes and how you can protect yourself. And I really want to continue this conversation. Thank you for listening to this episode of Tracy Talks. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and share with others who would enjoy listening to this podcast. Friends can find Tracy Talks available on iTunes, Spotify, Substack, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Facebook at More Tracy Talks. And until next time, we meet again.